All right, everybody. Welcome back to another Art with Arrow podcast. This is our Monday check in. Let's go. All right, y'all. It's been another week, another wonderful week of doing some artwork, some gaming, podcasting, all the things we've been doing. If you're new to the channel, I'm Arrow. I'm your host. Do this podcast every week where we just kind of dive into our journey as a content creator. And it's just more, like I said in all my podcasts, of a means for me to kind of outlet and think out loud, which I think is a good thing. So one of the big things that we've hit, which seems to have been great, is we surpassed 300. We're almost to four. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm looking at almost to 400 subscribers on our Art with Arrow channel, which is really good. But also on the gaming channel, we've got over 300. We're at 310, which is really amazing, for a 2-year-old channel that, I always had very slow growth with my YouTube audio base, or whatever you want to call it. Twitch, it's always been stagnant for me because I just don't stream enough. It's a streaming platform, and you got to stream every day and be very consistent with the streaming of every day. And I don't do that enough, so it's really hard to grow on Twitch if you're not streaming enough. And a lot of these guys nowadays, they do 8 hours or more streams, and unfortunately for everyone, that's not possible. So so to reach an audience is a lot more challenging. And I think I titled this, what did we title it today, why growth feels slow. And that's what we kind of want to talk about. And what can you do about it? And I think this is a good topic for a lot of folks because we all want instant gratification. A lot of people nowadays are in the mindset that they just want to get achievements, and it doesn't always work out that way. So the reality is, unless you have a standout video or something like that that's going to blow up, your growth is typically going to be slow, especially when you're like myself and you don't make the kind of content that's going to take you that route. Like if you're not doing the 8-hour streams and all that stuff and then chopping it up into content, you don't have all that time, so your growth will be slow, and you just have to kind of have a good understanding that it's going to be slow, but do know that I believe that the algorithm rewards consistency, and it's, one of the things that I've always stressed in all my podcasts. If anything, you got to be consistent with what you're doing. You will grow if you stay consistent. That means uploading around the same time every day. If you can't do the exact same time, just try to be in that hour window of your normal upload time. If you can upload twice a day with videos, that helps. I don't know about 3 times. I feel like a good spot would be like 2 to 3 times. But if you can, just separating them enough so people have time to view each video. I've already spoken about the whole Facebook thing, and that's behind us now. We're dealing with the future. So our focus has been mostly YouTube. with the streaming focused on Twitch now, but I gotta say, I think that the shorts that we've been making have helped us gain a lot of the following, and that's something that if you're not doing shorts, you probably should do shorts as well as if you're doing like a medium or longer video. I think those should be really considered or heavily considered, because it definitely helps you gain more following. If you can chop up, let's say you're doing a 10 to 15 minute video, if you can chop it up and make it into a short, you probably should be doubling up. And that's what I think I've noticed is my videos are doubled, but they're shorts. It's the same video, just created in two different formats. A shorts format, which is that long form that, what is it? You got 16 by 9 and 9 by 16. So doing both of those formats of the same video and then posting them has been working out well, because you're capturing folks who like to watch the video in two different formats. So if that's something that you haven't been doing, I highly recommend that. That will give you a little boost there. We started from scratch, and we talked about that. And this new format that we've been running has been really, really helping and working. Because when I look at my analytics, and it shows me that we're plus 38 in the last 28 days of subscribers for our gaming channel. That means that the formula we've been using has been working, with the Monday through Saturday uploading our little bit of gaming news short in the two formats, and streaming a game on Friday, doing our podcast and our art videos through the week on the Art with Arrow channel. I mean, it's helping us gain more traction. It's just, like I said, it's been slow. And I think the way you got to deal with it, or how you, what you can do about it, is if you can't make more content or, add another type of value to it, you just stay consistent and you just stay with it, and just, be happy with the growth you're getting. What's holding me back? If you think about what's holding you back, so let's break it down. Our content clarity can sometimes, be holding us back. Maybe people don't really know what it is that I'm doing on my channels, and I think that comes along with being consistent, because the people that watch the shorts may not watch the other stuff, and that's fine. So, having more announcements about the other content may be crucial to helping my growth. When you're looking at yours, you gotta look at your own stuff. But I've separated the art and gaming, where I used to have it all on one channel. So, I think what I need to be doing is cross-posting on my it's like a message board, right? But it's really what's it called? It's the post, right? I need to make more posts for each of the channels on the other channel. So I need to have that cross post to promote, so people can know, hey, I did a little artwork on the Art with Arrow channel, post that on the gaming channel as a post with a link or whatever. I need to start doing more of that to kind of guide people where to go. I think that's the one thing that's probably holding me back, is that I'm not doing those type of things. I don't really post links anymore, or I try not to post a lot of links on X. So if I'm on X, it's really, I'm just, kind of putting a little rinky-dink tweet out or whatever. But the links thing, one thing that we learned is that X will deprioritize anything you post with links. So, go figure, huh? they want to keep people on their platform. So, another thing is my hooks could be weak. The first 3 seconds of the short really matters the most. So, since I do a lot of shorts content, it's really hard to like land a good hook right off the back, and sometimes I may be hit or miss with that. So that could be something that's holding me back. You got to stop them from scrolling, right? I mean, that's the thing. You got to have something catchy to stop someone from scrolling and want to listen to your content or watch your content. So, I know I don't always land that. So, that could be a weak point in my my shorts content. I think the call to action also can be something where I'm lacking. I do try to ask people to like and subscribe, all that stuff. But sometimes I'll forget to do it or whatever. Giving the viewers basically direction, right? You want to give the viewers direction either at the beginning or the end of the video. And that's even, for long form videos. So if you're doing long form videos, you still want to do that call to action. You should always have that built into your content. I know certain content creators do it in different parts of the video. Sometimes people do it in the beginning. Sometimes they throw it in the middle, or they throw it in at the end. So just finding where you want to place yours. You always want to do that call to action. Some of the things that we changed. What did we change? I haven't really changed much. I really haven't. I've been pretty consistent with everything, except for missing a video here and there because of schedule changes and stuff. And that's just life. Life events happen. You just got to kind of work around them. So one thing I can say is doubling down on the shorts has been super helpful. That's been super helpful. A strong title always is going to help. Creating better hooks if you can. Those things also help. Engaging more on the comments. That's something I need to do with the very few comments I get. I need to engage more with them. Sometimes I just don't see them until later, and then I'm like, well, I kind of missed out on it, but maybe it's still okay to just go ahead and respond, even if it's late. So, all I can say is I'd like to challenge you guys to look at your own content and decide where your faults are or where you're lacking, and see if you can figure out, what can help you gain more following or whatever. Basically focus on your hooks. You're clear on your call to actions, and actually respond to the comments. I think those things are all helpful too. So, that's stuff all that I need to work on as well. So, probably in the same boat if you're listening to me. So, this journey is just not a straightforward, nobody can really give you, hey, this is exactly what you got to do to get it. You just have to kind of figure things out along the way. But, working on these things actively, I believe will be beneficial to anybody. But, there's no definitive answer, because, you could have a viral video and then next thing you know, you gain a huge following. That is possible if you can land a lot of those things into a great video. Videos are, a dime a dozen nowadays, though. So everybody's making them. So the journey only gets tougher. Excuse me, y'all. The journey only gets tougher, but I feel like our progress over the last few weeks, we've been making some tremendous progress. Seeing more comments, um, and like I said, a lot of times I'm a little time late. Time late with some of these things, but it doesn't hurt to go back and respond to comments you missed. That's what I think. You can do that. I think it'll be okay. And sometimes that just brings more attention to the videos. Like I look at the video we did today, right? Today I did a video on a game that I hadn't heard of, right? It's called No Rest for the Wicked, and the title was, it has a big problem, I only got, my views are actually down on that one because I got a 128 views, 4 likes, okay? I did get a comment, which I tried to respond to. What did I say? Got a comment and I did respond to it. But I think the thing with this video is a lot of people don't even know this game, like No Rest for the Wicked. I don't think a lot of people didn't know. I think I'm not the only one, even though, that it said in the article I read that it sold 1.7 million or something like that. But the thing is that game, when I looked it up, I think it came out, was it a year or two ago? And they still haven't put it on. I mean, it's a small studio, so they're trying to get it on consoles and stuff. Let me just pull it back up. No Rest for the Wicked, and it's 30% off actually on Steam. But the game released on Steam in 2024. So, this is April 18th. It said it released of 2024. And this game is still not on Xbox and PlayStation. And this was what the video was about, really, is that, they were talking about possibly skipping the Xbox at launch for console because they're struggling in their small studio, this Moon Studio or whatever. They're struggling to get it for Xbox, right? Is what the whole thing with that article that I read. And I read that article on Game Rant. A lot of the gaming news I find on Game Rant because it's, they usually have some good stuff on there. There are other sites too that you can look at for gaming news, but I do like Game Rant, so I will go to that website a lot, and give my own thoughts on it and stuff like that. Whatever, read the article, give your own thoughts. So, yeah, but that video, what I was getting at, didn't do as well, and maybe because it's not a as known video game, and it's fine. You have hits or misses, man. It is what it is. So hits or misses, and this one was a miss, but it's okay. It's okay to have hits and misses. You just gotta kind of keep pushing along, and on the next video we try something different. So you gotta know that it's not a straight line. You could do everything right. You could nail the video sometimes, and it may not be successful. That is possible as well. So just this journey in itself, there's always going to be ups and downs. And you're going to land some things and you're not going to land others. But the journey is what counts. However we get there till we make our own community, or build our own community, is just going to be, whenever it happens, it happens. And I think that just will come along with being consistent and just pushing forward and not giving up. Because I think a lot of people will give up too soon, man. You know, if you look at like what most people or content creators that have been successful say, sometimes it took what 9 or 10 years, may take some people longer, and it just is what it is. You know, there's no straight line with it. You just got to keep grinding it out until you figure your formula out. I wish there was an easy way to say, hey, this is the formula, here you go, boom, and you're out. You're off and running. That's just not how life works. That's not how anything works. You know, you got to keep working at things until you become successful. So, you know, we just keep trying, keep pushing forward. You know, if we become successful, we do. If we don't, we don't. Hey, you know, there are people that fail. Businesses fail. You know, things you attempt in life will fail. You know, it just is what it is. Just you can't say, hey, I tried this for 2 weeks and I'm done. You know, you can't do that. It's just, you was bound to fail if you tried it for 2 weeks. And well, so my thoughts on this topic today, man. You know, growth is going to be slow unless you just so happen to land that viral video, you know. And even then, you can have a tremendous amount of growth and you could slow right back down. So, you know, growth is typically slow. And what do you do about it? You accept it. That's what you do about it. You accept it, man. You just say, hey, you know I'm in the slow growth phase. Maybe I'll have a spike here and we'll have like some massive growth because we'll land a video. You know, we'll land something that goes viral. You know, you never know. You just got to keep trying and keep pushing forward and look at your content. And I think reflection, which this podcast is about, reflection. A lot of things that I keep saying are reoccurring if you watch me a lot. You know, it's consistency, right? That's one. Be consistent. You know, reflect. Reflect on your content. Reflect, man. You want to look at the content and see where you made mistakes so you can think about how do you correct it? How do you make it better? And a lot of times you can make mistakes that you just can't fix overnight. It may be like something that you have to work on through time, you know. So know that too, you know. You got to accept these things. You got to accept that your growth will be slow. You got to accept that you're not going to always have, you know, tremendous growth. You may have a spike. You may not have a spike. You may have to work hard on every video till you make it. You know, the path is not a straight line. It's a winding road or a hilly road or whatever. I think those things are critical to kind of take in, you know, if you're trying to make it in the content space. And I think that, you know, some of these things that I kind of go over when I think about my channel and I try to think it out loud on this podcast can help you, you know, help others. You know, if you think about the same things about your content, you're not going to be thinking about my content when you're thinking about these ideas. You want to think about your content, like where you're at, you know. Are you landing your hooks at the beginning of your video? I don't always land my hooks, man. Sometimes my hooks are very weak, you know. Sometimes they land, though, because I could look at, like, some of my content and, you know, I'll see, like, oh, I had a huge spike on this video. Like, I look at this one I did about Rust, and, you know, it was obvious that that they're not making a Rust 2. You know, it was obvious. But it was a great video because it had a huge spike in viewers. I had like 854 viewers on that video, which was because I made it interesting with the title and stuff, and we kind of talked about, the whoever did that, it was like a fake page for Rust 2 or something like that on Steam. But anyway, it was a huge spike from my channel to get up to 800 on that style of video. If I look at the shorts version of it, how much did we do? Let me look at the shorts version of it. Same, 812. It was in the 800s. So, some of my shorts can get up to, I very rarely hit 1,000. Up to 900, I think it's the most. Very rarely do I hit over 1,000. The De Nervo thing went over 1,000. And that was back, I did that video back in March. But most of the videos are around, let's see, the lowest, probably would be, 300. Like today is 100, so we're real low today, so 100 to 800 or 900, that's like a wild range of views, I guess. But it's okay, I'm not as well known, and people are starting to take notice. And that's the main thing, because, we can go to Social Blade. Let's go to Social Blade. Social Blade. Take a look at it. We'll type in Art with Arrow Gaming. Art with Arrow Gaming. Okay. And boom, let's take a look at, people are taking notice. It says I'm a C-. A lot of people, I think, are C-. But I look at the chart. I scroll down to the monthly gained subscribers, man. And when I go to the end there, 35, dude. Monthly gained views. I had a dip after February. In March, I had a dip. And now we're on a kind of like an upward slope. We're at 18.7. Where we was at 29 in February, 29,000. So, people are taking notice. I do have ups and downs. Let's look at when we're going to hit 500. Because our goal for this year, we set our goal to hit 500 subscribers, right? Which would be an achievement for me. Some people would be like, oh, that's not a lot. Well, for me, that's an achievement. So let's look at the future projection. I don't have this up on the screen, do I? Anybody can go to Social Blade. I don't know. Let me see if the display. Do I have the display set to which? I don't know which one I have it set to. Let's see. TV graphic. Turn that off. Oh, okay. I got it set to the right one. So this is Social Blade. The only thing I don't like is it shows ads. You can try to turn them off, but it doesn't work. So we want to get to 500 by the end of the year. It's showing us hitting it by August, if we stay consistent with what we've been doing, y'all. Obviously 1,000 is showing like 2027. But 500 was our goal for this year. So I think we'll hit it this year as long as we don't have any major fall offs. I'm going to turn this off now because I don't like that it shows the giving away free advertising, Nobody wants to do that, right? Nobody wants to do that. Where is the display? Shoot, now I don't remember which one it was. TV graphic. Okay, there we go. All right, so yeah, man. So ultimately, we want to. We would like to hit 500 subscribers. For the Art with Arrow channel, I would also like to get it there too, but I know that's even slower That's even slower going. Oh shoot. Let me type it in again. Oh, it came up. Yeah, so C minus on that one too. You know, views have been very low on this channel. I'm not gonna lie. You know, people just aren't into the artwork like that. 3 subscribers, so you know this projections on this is gonna be really long or really far out. So I need to try to drive more traffic to this through the gaming channel. Future projections 500 is showing, man, 2029. Yo, that's crazy. Yeah, so the gaming channel is catching more or getting more steam, you know, and I need to mention it more in my videos about the art channel. So you know, I would like to get to doing, I think, more of a longer 15-minute video or something like that, 10 to 15 minutes or something, and then maybe throwing it into one of those videos. So I need to do that. I want to do it like twice a month, you know, where I do a little bit longer video instead of just a short, you know. But while we're in the growth phase, I mean, I think we can continue doing our shorts and push forward that way. You know, at least that's my ideas or my thoughts. We did get rid of that podcasting channel because it had no growth, which is fine. You know, we combined the podcasting into the Art with Arrow channel, so it's just Art with Arrow and Art with Arrow Gaming. So I think that was a really good move to do. I think I had too many channels going, and it just wasn't. It was too much to manage. Not good. Not good. So you know, the journey is real. You know, we're on this slow growth journey, which is fine by me because I'm retired. You know, I do my little job at the gym, and you know, I do my little content creation. I'm happy with what life is going right now. So it's cool. You know, hopefully we'll get better as we go through the year on all this stuff and make more progress. But you know, I think we will hit the 500 for our gaming channel by the end of the year, which would be wonderful because then that unlocks, you know, if I can hit the hours, that will unlock, right, the super chat and stuff, right? I think the partner program, right? So, but you see the thing is you need the hours, the watch hours. I'm not getting there with the watch hours, so that's why I need to start making a little longer videos, like at least 10 to 15 minute videos, and throwing them in there. So I need to try and do those a longer video than a short. You know, I'm glad they made the shorts 3 minutes though, because the 3 minutes gives you, you know, still that opportunity to, you know, kind of convey something, even though you got to be a lot faster. And I've been trying to master that, you know, that 3 minutes, you know. I got you for 3 minutes, 3 minutes of playtime, you know. I've been trying to master that, but, you know, whatever, man, you know. So becoming a master of the shorts, if I can do that and then, you know, ramp up more longer form videos, at least 10 to 15 minutes, that would be great and help the channel out tremendously with getting the watch time. So I need to work on some longer form videos, at least 1 or 2 per month is what I would like to get to. So I got to figure that out. You know, so a few things I need to figure out, you know, ways to do more artwork, ways to continue doing the stuff we've been doing with the gaming. And, you know, I'm happy with doing the podcast once a week. You know, just like I said, this is more of a reflection and hopefully helping folks see my mindset or my thoughts on growth and all that stuff, you know. And I appreciate people that tune in. I know I don't get a lot of views on Twitch. Like I said, Twitch has always been a weak spot for me. It's like hard to hold people's attention on Twitch or even get anyone's attention. I don't know. And I don't do the view bot and stuff. You know, I know a lot of people do that. So any views I get are, hey, it's who I got. You know, if you're paying attention to me, you know, I know you're real, and I'm real. So here we keeping it real over here, and that's just is what it is, man. So I don't do that view bot and stuff. So any views I get, you know, they're views, they're real views. You know, so that's where we're at on this thing, and our journey has been, you know, a wild one. I would like to get more growth over on Twitch, but it's very tough. You know, like I said, and I think the main reason for that is I don't stream long enough. You know, I think you have to hit like a certain amount of hours of stream time for people to kind of like find you, and I just don't do that. And people don't watch VODs on Twitch. That's why it's crucial that, you know, all the VODs are posted to YouTube. You know, it's crucial. So if you are content creating on Twitch, you know, you got to up your time if you're trying to grow on Twitch. That means you need to do 8 to 10 hours or something of stream time, and you got to be on it. You can't just be sitting there stagnant. You can't just be sitting there quiet and playing the game. That just doesn't work. You know, you got to be conversating. You got to be cracking jokes. You got to be doing something to hold someone's attention. You know, that's how you grow on Twitch, and I just don't have the time, you know, or the funny. I don't bring the funny. No. I didn't say I don't bring the money. I said I don't bring the funny. Anyway, man, you know, growing on Twitch is, you know, next to impossible if you're doing short term streams like I do, like 30, 40 minutes, you know, an hour, 2 hours. I mean, I think that's my cap is 2 hours, you know. I'm tapped out, you know, at 2 hours. You know, I don't, you know, a lot of times the podcast is only 20 to 30 minutes, you know, so who's catching that? Most of the people don't even know when I do it. So, you know, it is what it is, you know. But the main thing is that the podcast is rebroadcasted or posted on Spotify. We're posting on Apple Music. Apple Podcasts and Amazon Music and YouTube. So at least there's exposure on all those platforms, chances of being seen by somebody. So, you know, and I'm more focused on, I'm more focused on YouTube than anything else. So, yeah, if we can get our growth on YouTube and then maybe some of the following bleeds over with cross posting, which we're going to try our best. When I post this podcast, I'm going to post it on the gaming channel that, hey, podcast is up. Or with Daryl, go to the podcast, check it out. Give me your thoughts, see what you think, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, I need to make sure I make that post on the other channel, you know, make a post. Because the YouTube gives you that, you know, they give you that. And that's the thing, too, I think, is tools, man. A lot of people don't utilize the tools that, you know, a lot of these platforms give you. You have to utilize some of the tools, man. You know, I know YouTube does the auto dubbing, right? I activated it, so I don't know how well that does. But I think, you know, if I go into the analytics, we could probably see, because it does do the auto dubbing. Now, it's not in your voice, but it will speak to people in their language. And it's very cool that they do that, and you should turn that on. Gives you a chance to get more audience, you know what I mean? If you don't know how to turn it on, you just go to the language tab, I believe it is. And you'll see, like, a lot of my stuff is in 22 different languages, you know, which helps I don't know how well it converts what you're saying, because I'm not going through and checking to make sure it's catching every word perfectly. So there may be errors in there. That would be something you need to pay somebody to do. I ain't got the patience to go through there and do that and fix that. So, but if you want to turn that on, you can. I forget which setting you got to go to turn it on, but there's a setting in here in your studio, your YouTube studio, that you can turn it on, and it will auto dub it in different languages. And that's cool. And you can actually, I think, hear you talking in those other languages. Yeah. I can't remember how you get to it now. Was it under customization or settings? It might be under settings. I'll see if I can find it real quick before we close out our session here today. I know it's in one of these feature. Okay, no. Permissions, nope. Moderation, demographics. Is it under demographics? No, that's surveys. I think it's under languages, and you gotta turn it on. There's a way to turn it on or something, or under your content or something like that. I don't remember how I turned it on, man. All I know is I turned it on. Maybe you can Google it. I'm sure they have somewhere on how to turn it on if you don't have it turned on. But that can be helpful in, getting folks from other regions, in your journey for growth. Maybe that's what I should have titled this video. But no, I think this is appropriate. Why growth feels slow. And that's what we've been talking about. It feels slow because it is slow. And you got to accept the fact that, there's nothing really you can do about it, All you can do is try to keep making good content. And if you land a video, there's a possibility of going viral, if you can land that type of video. And not everybody lands that. So just be happy with the amount of growth you're getting. Unless you're not getting any growth, then you need to do a full start from scratch, look at it and analyze it and say, hey man, I need to change something I'm doing. If you have zero growth, you have to change something you're doing. You're doing something wrong at that point. So you need to sit and watch your video. That's why reflection is important. Reflection is very important. Consistency, reflection, and what did we say? I'm sorry, I kind of brain farted on that one. Consistency is number one. Reflection is number two. You want to look at your content and reflect on it. Try to make your stuff better where you make mistakes, and accept that it's not a straight line. It's a winding road, and growth will be slow. I think I nailed it on that. That's all good information, and it's obvious information. Sometimes you got to point out the obvious to yourself, and that's for me. It's for me too. It's not just for the people that are watching this. It's also for me. Because I make these mistakes. I make a lot of these mistakes that we talked about. I don't always land the hook, because I do shorts and you need to land the hook. I don't always do that. So, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So, there's a lot of, sometimes my editing's not on point either. So, there's like little things that you can always be working on to make yourself better. And reflection is a big part of learning where you made your mistakes. So I think that's where we're going to end it today, y'all. We have 44 minutes. Almost 45 minutes. Well, we're going to hit 45 minutes before we shut down. But just know that we are making good headway on our gaming channel. I want to get one of the channels to 500 subscribers. according to Social Blade, we're gonna hit that by August on the gaming channel. So I think we'll have mission success, and we need to do a video for that. When we hit 500, and take a look at like how many hours did we hit, because I'm nowhere near the hours, man. I don't understand how this thing calculates hours. When you go to the Earn tab, it'll tell you where you're at for the watch hours, right? But I'm only at 540, which is kind of crazy because some of my videos do get, but I mean, they're shorts. So I got to also take that into account, that they're only 3 minutes. And of the 3 minutes, how much is being watched of 2 to 3 minute videos, That's why we're not getting enough time. That's why it's going to be important for me to make a longer form video, 5 to 10 or 10 to 15, maybe 5 to 15, somewhere in there. I need to be somewhere in there to get them watch hours up. So I want to at least do that maybe twice a month if I can. I need to focus on doing that. Trying to get those out, So I need to figure out how I'm going to make those videos, what I'm going to talk about. Am I doing a gaming news, or am I going to do something where I talk about the games for the month? I don't know. I got to figure that out for our videos to help us get to the hours, man. Because you need 3, according to this thing, to get. This will basically unlock your first milestone, which is super chat and shopping, right? And I think that gets you in the partner program, right? So that's you need 500 subscribers, and it's 3,000 watch hours in the last year, basically. So that's what we got to hit. We still have time left, but I need to make, like I said, longer form videos, and we're going to try our best to squeeze those in. So if you don't follow us on Twitch, hit the follow button on Twitch. You can also subscribe on YouTube, Art with Arrow or Art with Arrow Gaming. You can also follow on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Amazon Music, because we got the podcast on all of those. But if you want to see the gaming content or the art content, it's Twitch or YouTube. Live stuff on Twitch, and videos are posted on the YouTube. So that's how we're doing it. Appreciate everyone out there. Thank you for all the folks who have subscribed, because hey, you're nobody without your audience. At least you're unknown on social media. You're not nobody. You have family, you have friends. Everybody has family and friends. Everybody has that stuff. But if you're not getting the subscribers, you're not really making it. So and holding people's attention is something that we're trying to learn. So it's always difficult to hold anybody's attention for any short time. Anyway, y'all, I'm going to get off of here. I appreciate you. Appreciate your viewership. Until next time, you know what to do. I'm out of here.